This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Ladies and gentlemen, making their way to the microphones, it's Jack. It's Kenny. It's the Rock and Roll Up Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Rock and Roll Up Podcast with Jack and... you right? You look like an angel. Look like an angel. Just do that. Do that again.
One more time, and take two. Reset, please.
With the angel, Jack.
That's Lord of the Rings. I was humming then.
And Kenny. And Kenny.
Not quite the effect. You're a fallen angel. You're a hell's angel.
Yeah.
You're a hell's angel. Welcome. This is our general episode, regular episode, bits and bobs, as we like to say.
Bits, bobs,
bits.
Bit of that.
Haven't had time to do these things for the last few weeks because we've been talking about music and talking about lockdown, and we're sort of talking about both of those today. So nothing's changed. Let's
No, it's just a standard bits and bobs episode. We're going to have lots of stuff, lots of funny little bits, bit of music, bit of gaming, but we're going to kick off with a little trip down memory lane.
We're going to start with an intro question today. All right, as we used to do for those regulars. Sometimes we'd ask some questions, some probing questions at the beginning to really get us in. It's just to shoehorn us into the podcasting spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lubing us up for a good old-fashioned podcast thrash about.
Lube me up.
Lube me up.
We're going to talk about our fathers today, talking of lubing up.
Intro question number one. What's the first joke that your dad told you when you were a young little bubba? Or if you don't remember that, what's one of the earliest jokes that you remember from your youth? A joke that's been with you?
Yeah, I can't really remember the first joke my dad told me.
Okay, we'll move on.
Probably should have given him a call before we started. My dad's best joke is probably me.
Brilliant. Just a snippet of truth there. Just a little bit of truth in there. But we're
just tiny bit of truth.
We're honest.
One joke that I do have from my younger days is that I really like is what's green and shoots out of your nose at 1,000,000 miles per hour?
I don't know.
A Lamborghini.
Right. Good. Yeah, fine. That's one of those jokes that inherently it doesn't make any sense.
No, God no.
But
no.
The beauty is there in the wordplay. So.
How about you? Do you actually know the first joke?
I remember two, actually. I remember two.
Oh.
My phone appears to be buzzing. I remember two. Number one, why are there no tablets in the jungle?
Tablets?
Tablets.
Okay.
Because the paracetamol.
Very, very good, that.
Just stating the name of a medication. Again, doesn't really make sense.
We don't condone feeding parrots any form of medication, paracetamol, ibuprofen, aspirin, or otherwise.
And we're anti-racism, as we said. Just look at his fiancée.
Just pull her in.
Pull her in. Come in, love. What? She's a parrot?
What's the second one?
Why can't a car play football?
Go on.
Because he's only got one boot.
Nice.
A boot is a trunk for our American listeners, of which there are many, because, according to Transistor, we are popular in the UK, second only to the USA.
Yeah.
Moving across the pond, baby. We're like the Beatles, aren't we? Like the Beatles in a way.
In a way, just like them.
Talking of the Beatles, Rock and Roll Up this week, brought to you by Linda McCartney, Foods Incorporated.
Yeah. Why would we have such a sponsorship? Well, I'll answer that question for you.
Go on.
We love a Linda, and we tagged Linda McCartney frozen foods in our Instagram story when we were joking about Linda's the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Got a response.
Okay. In fact, whilst my phone's here, let me get it up for you. It's
Maybe
almost as if I prepared this.
one emoji, was it? 2 emojis?
Sorry, don't be stupid.
You get 2 emoji response?
One more than
just a laughing face. Must have been just a laughing face.
You doubt yourself, young sir. 4 emojis. Oh yeah, baby.
4 emojis.
Now, let me just dissect these. Party, laughing face.
Yeah.
The sort of the high five, prayer, thankful emoji. It's used in multiple places. And the sort of the heart love emoji.
Feeling love.
What can I say? So Linda, she's come down like an angel. She's watched the story. She loves what we're providing. Sponsor us, you cowards. We love your sausages.
You cowards.
Yeah.
If you don't get there, then another vegetarian produce company will.
Yeah, we
Corn.
will.
Corn will come after us.
Corn of the dead. The trouble is, I think we might have jeopardised our sponsorship by starting the anecdote with "We are meat eaters."
Maybe
we might have shot ourselves in the foot with some kind of cattle prod gun.
Yeah. One, I've got, just going back to what we were saying about the dad joke. I've got a tiny little story that, so my mum works at the school that I went to as a child, but since I've left, my year 6 teacher was still there.
Wow.
For years when they were working together. She's now left, but she told a story to my mum about her first day and her interview. You get these kids and they go into interviews. Sorry, not kids. You get the teachers that go into the interviews with the kids and they do like a sample lesson.
Yeah.
You get like questions and things like that. And my question was to a qualified teacher who would go on to be my sixth form teacher, my year 6 teacher. I said, do you think you're funny? And she said, yeah. I was like, oh, are you like funny? Are you like a nut? Can you have a laugh?
You a nutter? You one of those?
Can you have a laugh with the kids? I mean, I was like year 3. I was maybe sort of 8 years old. Pair of cojones on me.
You did.
And she said, yeah. And I was like, all right, tell us a joke.
You're testing her.
In front of a classroom of kids and the interviewers. Just, all right, tell us a joke. You think you're hard enough? Tell us a joke.
Wow. Did she tell a joke?
No. And she got the job.
She said, your dad told me.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah.
Well, there we go.
But yes, I get reminded of that sometimes if my mum and her meet up. Yeah.
Tell us.
Just a little shit. I was just a little shit.
You were. You were the class clown, weren't you? That's the trouble. See, when you're born funny, you got funny bones, mate. What can I tell you?
Do you remember that book, Funny Bones? Loved that.
Yes, I do remember that book.
What a book!
I've forgotten that until just this second.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's still on the shelf at my mum and dad's house. Such a good book.
Your mum had moved on, has she? Working at the same school, got all your kids' books.
She's reading Funny Bones every night.
Yeah, she's sitting in your bed, stroking a teddy bear. You need to have a word with her.
Yeah.
Bless you, Sarah. Love you, Sarah. She's the true angel. Well, what a lovely way to start off with some questions. And you know what? Let's double down. Let's have a bloody game. What should we play? Let's play Improv Classic, 1-word story time, where we say one word at a time to create a beautiful story for you listeners.
Oh.
Here we go. Okay.
Right. I didn't know we were doing this.
Well, I like to surprise you. You know what I mean? Sometimes I was surprising you with an impression. Sometimes a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's been a while.
It has been a while since the flowers, but hay fever.
Ooh.
Dirty. Here we go. One word at a time.
Okay.
In
the
beginning
of
time,
Barbara
Windsor
and
Barack.
Hussein.
Obama.
No need for the middle name, but
No.
popped it in there anyway.
Yep.
So, drove
50
meters
away.
from
Jesus.
full stop.
There we go. That was more of a biblical story. Maybe come back to that later.
Barbara Windsor and Barack Hussein Obama. No need to say Hussein. Don't say Hussein. Stop saying Hussein.
Stop saying Hussein. It's going to get flagged.
Hussein Windsor.
Yeah, well, we all know who she's really been working for the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll come back to Barbara Windsor later on with an anecdote about a film poster. We'll talk about that later.
Lovely.
Let's briefly talk about our release schedule, shall we? Whilst people are still listening, if they are, because during this crazy time, obviously we've been doing slight variations on the podcast, doing what we can do. We've mapped out a kind of a sort of basically a weekly schedule of what we're going to kind of do when. Maybe we should briefly take the listeners through that. Shall I start, or would you like to start, or shall I reel?
I'll start.
You start.
So on a Monday, as possibly is the day that you are listening to this, although we get a lot of listens on a Tuesday, on a Monday we release our episode, sometimes weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. Obviously, that's on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, all the good places. Do our social media posts, and then on the Tuesday we cover SoundCloud and Stitcher for the Monday release, and that's our 2 release days.
Yes, Wednesday, new gimmick alert, sound the klaxon. Friends Day Wednesday, where we are celebrating other podcasts, so content creators, supporters, good, lovely people, and sometimes we just celebrate each other. Like this previous Wednesday, you might have seen it. Little cheeky photo of us together around Christmas, having a little pout, having a little kiss. It's a celebration day, isn't it? Where we recommend podcasts and just show you a bit of love. Love makes the world go around.
Yeah. On Thursdays, we're doing the classic Throwback Thursday, which I have really enjoyed because Jack's been sorting these. Going through our old episodes one by one, each week is another one, taking a clip of back in day, and throwing up a minute or so of old content of ours, stuff that we haven't listened to for a long time, back when we were wee little babbies.
Wee little bubba podcasters. It's nice to look back into the archives. I mean, some people do throwback, 10, 15 years ago, just 1 year ago, our throwback posts.
1 year.
But we've changed a lot in the 12 months that we've been doing this, or just over. So some nice nuggets in there, people that things, you might have missed, some funny things. So I try and go through and pick a nice little clip that represents the episode. So Throwback Thursday, you can find the clips on all the normal social media pages. Friday, follow Friday, the classic. Get those listeners up. Bit of networking. We're pushing towards the 2,000 followers on Twitter. If you haven't followed us on Twitter, please consider doing so. It always helps. Follow Friday. It's just good to network. People can get on board. We do threads of gifts, gifts and various threads for people that you can.
And maybe gifts.
Gifts. Anything that rhymes with if, really. Get involved. We'll follow you. You follow us. We're building the Podden family. What more to say? What more to say?
Yeah. So that's the week, and then Saturdays we do a repost of that week's episode, and then Sundays will be a teaser of the episode that's coming out the next day.
Little teaser, occasionally a promo, sometimes a little message. Not doing quite as many promos, video promos at the moment, because I'm just putting a lot of content out there for people to hear. So
cutting up the episodes that we've done. I wonder if we've already done the the teaser, what will end up being the teaser for the next episode, or if it will come in the next hour or so of content.
Probably won't be the first minute we did.
Perhaps not.
That probably won't stay in. Let's be real.
Perhaps not that bit.
But we'll see later on. You know, we don't know what bloody great stuff's going to come out of this podcast. Believe you me.
And we don't know what technical issues there might be, like there were for the last week.
Believe you me.
No one will probably notice because just big boy audio
Big boy audio
stopper.
Yeah,
big boy audio stopper. But I had to cut 2 podcasts together and put them together. Just complete internet failure. So that was great.
As I recall, your internet was unstable. So,
yeah,
there we go.
Very seems to be okay today though. So that's the week by week.
That's the schedule. Monday to Sunday, baby. Lots of content whilst we have time to post it all and do it all. So get on there. If you haven't liked or shared or subscribed, all those things. There's bells. Click those bells. I don't know what they do. Click them. Ring them if you want.
Ring the bells.
And hopefully we can have a nice chat to you on the old social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we go on to a little bit of news? A bit of
news like we used to. Yeah. What's going on in the world of entertainment? Kenny Beveridge reports.
Well, I would say perhaps the biggest entertainment news, especially when it comes to content creation, podcasters, things of that such.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest news stories of the year, maybe for many years, the biggest podcast in the world, the Joe Rogan Experience, is moving.
Not the.
No, we don't need to move to Spotify. We're already there.
Of course.
What Joe Rogan's done is he's seen our template and gone, do you know what? I could be on that.
Yeah. So just to confirm, we are better than Joe Rogan. Carry on.
Joe Rogan Experience moving exclusively. That's the important thing. Exclusively to Spotify. I've got a couple of bits on that. So 150 million downloads each month that gets to Joe Rogan Experience. Primarily through YouTube, let's be honest. And has signed $100 million deal for Spotify for Rogan to have complete control over content. And I think it really it raises the question on YouTube and censorship, and that this is really capitalism in it, as shown as it should work. YouTube are overstepping their boundaries. He's going somewhere else. Initial reaction when you heard the news?
I was surprised, considering that I have only ever indulged in Joe Rogan via YouTube.
Same.
So obviously the visual medium adds a lot for me, especially when there's comedians on there.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I think that he is ahead of, maybe not ahead of the curve, but he would lead the way, I think, in terms of large-scale content creators moving away from YouTube. I know a lot of smaller creators are moving to BitChute, for example. There is a real, we've spoken about it before, we could talk about it forever, a real issue with freedom of speech and censorship, and YouTube and its alien overlords are really crunching down on people giving alternative information, or whether it's real or not. As we've all said, you could have the right to free speech. Some people will come at you and go, yeah, but YouTube's this private entity, it can do what it wants. But unfortunately, YouTube is in the fabric of everyone's life in some degree, isn't it? And I just think it sets a worrying precedent when you are censoring people for having an opinion. And unfortunately for YouTube, it does mean that big money players like Joe Rogan, who will make substantial money for YouTube as well, has moved away. So I was surprised, but I wasn't shocked. Yeah,
I think it's so a couple of the numbers to crunch down. So it was $100 million deal.
Crunchy.
Spotify's stock.
Sweet, tangy.
This is sweet for Spotify. So their stock raised from $161 to $189, which doesn't sound like a crazy boost.
Boost.
That's in 48 hours. However, because their stock is worth so much overall, they made $5 billion in 48 hours on their stock price, which means really that Joe Rogan's podcast is worth $5 billion. That's what it's worth to the stock price of Spotify.
Wow.
That's incredible.
I wonder what our podcast is worth to the stock price of Spotify. Minus $1 billion. $1 billion.
So I think this is a great thing for. I mean, we're in a burgeoning industry, a new. This has never been done before. This raises all boats, in my opinion. The top podcast is worth 100 million cash direct, but 5 billion on the stock. So the 30th biggest podcast, what's that worth? It's crazy times.
Changing the game.
But yeah, Valuetainment on YouTube for the numbers crunched on that. So watched a video of his, which was really, really good.
Thank you, Valuetainment. If you're in a boat, it's being raised. If you're in a ship, it's been raised. Ship on. Whoa, what's going on? The Titanic's floating.
And apparently Spotify are developing a video portion of Spotify entirely for Joe Rogan's podcast.
I was going to say, this is my worry, because when the visuals are gone, people might switch off, but that's very smart, Spotify. It's very smart.
Yeah. And what's going to happen if people go exclusive there that also have visual medium? I know that, much smaller, but Russell Brand's podcast is on Luminary, which is a paid-for podcast platform as well. It's we're getting into this new age maybe of what are people worth? If Joe Rogan's podcast is worth 100 million paid, what if PewDiePie was to officially? I know he's doing Twitch stuff regularly, but it's still massive on YouTube. What if he goes?
We could be. What you're saying is we could be one of the first video podcasts on Spotify. So
is that what he said?
Sponsored by Linda McMahon. Linda McCartney.
Yeah. So crazy times.
Crazy times for the podcasting world.
Yeah.
We're still going to post on YouTube for the time being, until the inevitable clampdown. Probably this episode.
Yeah, the thing with YouTube is it's like you said, a private business can do what it wants, but if it's constantly screwing up, someone's going to fill the gap, and that seems to be what's happening. It's we're not all super left wing, which is fine.
Yeah, some of us don't even have wings. That's fine as well. So, you know what I mean. If
you've got wings, I'm the wind beneath your wings.
Ah.
Or not wings.
Paul McCartney's best band. I think we might be repeating bits from last week.
Yeah, I think it's got that way.
Kenny Beveridge, what have you been watching on television? Bit violent. I've gone in.
What have I been watching on television?
You've been watching. It rhymes with Lime Punter. Which is a sport in Scotland. Not many people know that.
Is it? Yes. I have been watching Mindhunter.
Sorry, yeah.
I've been watching Mindhunter. I finished Mindhunter now. Very good. It was strange watching a show that I knew had been cancelled, but was still watching. The third season seems to...
It puts me off shows when I find out it's been cancelled.
I think it was worse because I knew that it had been cancelled, but I also knew that they didn't think they were going to be cancelled. So there wasn't going to be resolution. I was setting myself up for failure.
Now you just feel incomplete.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a very good show. It wasn't incredible, by the standards of top TV, but it was very good. Second season was much weaker than the first, but quite enjoyable.
Have you ever seen Mime Hunter, where they go around looking for mimes, and you have to just find a mime and shoot them in the head with a sniper rifle? But like, it's fun. It's like a fun show and stuff. But it got cancelled as well. But cancel culture. What can I say?
Oh, yeah. Hashtag cancel culture. What have you been watching? I think that might be. Oh, I'll tell you what I have started.
Go on.
The only Ricky Gervais show I've never seen. Although, no, that's not true, because the old Channel 4 show I've not seen all the skits of, but written Ricky Gervais. So I've started Derek.
Derek, yes. I watched all of Derek I don't want to spoil it. Mixed reception, I think. When Ricky's not, I could go on a big rant about Ricky's writing, but I feel that when Ricky's not writing with Steve Merchant, his go-tos and his brashness, they're not muted. There's no sieve. They're not being filtered through Steve. So for every 5 jokes that Ricky writes that are great, there's another 5 that I don't believe are. And I think Steve was really the yin to his yang, would really balance that out and would bring slightly more nuance, some more nuance to Ricky's stuff when they did it together. But I think when Steve's not with him, there's no one for Ricky there's no one to question him. So he does exactly what he wants. And I think sometimes he rests on his laurels a bit, or sometimes he reverts to, let's just put a swear word in, or let's just do a big, unbelievable character because it makes me laugh. So I think Derek was an example of that for me. It's funny and it's very touching in places.
Yeah, yeah.
But it feels like Ricky Gervais in every scene is going, look, I wrote that. Isn't that funny? I wrote that. You know what I mean?
So what extras and The Office?
Yeah.
What are examples? So Derek was without Merchant.
Derek was without. Afterlife was without.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I would agree that Afterlife does rely sometimes on very, very like out of this world, crazy, non-believable characters for laughs. Although I did love Afterlife, and recently finished the 2nd season. I did it within a couple of days of it being released.
Really? Yeah.
You haven't watched Afterlife, have you?
I haven't. Unfortunately, I know a lot about it through media and reviews and things, but I haven't. No, I stayed away from it because, well, I shan't bore people. The beginning of the year was quite rough in terms of a few losses for us as a family. So I stayed away from things that are going to make me sad, basically, to be honest. For sure.
And it's with Derek.
Yeah.
Really triggering at the moment because in the UK, many of our coronavirus deaths have been in care homes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm only 3 or 4 episodes in, but yeah, very touching, and especially at this time, quite
very
triggering.
Poignant. Yeah, very poignant to watch. And I think one thing I think that show does do well is it really highlights the treatment of the elderly in our country. And he does it very well because he has experience in all of those things. So what Ricky writes about that he knows, he writes about very well. I don't take anything away from the series, but I feel sometimes that I think he thinks of himself as a bit of a high art player, or a bit of a intellectual, and I think sometimes it can affect his product more than it should, basically.
Yeah. Right.
I'll be interested to see what you make once you've seen the full.
Yeah, well, it's 3 series. I didn't know they'd done as many as that.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So it'll take a little bit of time. But yeah, so I'll keep you updated.
Report back.
How about yourself? What have you been doing? What have you been watching?
Well, it's been funny because these days have been flying by since all of this. Time seems to be speeding up. But I've been doing, as we've said before, been going back and watching a lot of stuff that I haven't watched with Danielle, or just revisiting stuff I haven't seen before. Partly because the new telly that we've got, I like to watch things on a big TV. To be honest, I hadn't had a big TV before, so I'm making
really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm making use of it.
Big TVs are great.
And I think a little bit of me, I have commitment issues with television programs. I watch a lot of TV, but I don't watch a lot of crappy TV, and it takes me a long time to get around to watch things that perhaps other people have watched. So, sometimes I might fall back and rely on something that perhaps I know is going to be good or whatever. But what I wanted to rewatch was Life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes.
Right.
the Matthew Graham and Ashley Farrow sort of sci-fi cop show. So Life on Mars, I think 2006 to 2007. Ashes followed it up 2008 to 2010. Very quick synopsis for people that haven't heard of it. It's basically a traditional cop show with a twist in that in Life on Mars, the original series, modern day policeman is hit by a car, and when he wakes up, he finds himself in 1970s Manchester. So he doesn't know if he's dreaming, if he's dead, or if he's time traveled. Super confused, obviously. It's a very strange concept, and I can see why it would alienate people. They think it's stupid and gimmicky. He's confused, obviously. He's a modern policeman, so his methods don't work back in the 70s, like fingerprinting and stuff. So he's kind of a man out of time, and he's trying to work out, like, is this a dream? Is this real? Where am I? Watched it once when it came out originally, many years ago, obviously 2006. Remembered bits of it, but I thought I've had the box set anyway, but it got put on Netflix, and I saw it was trending, so I thought,
okay.
A lot of people are watching it, so I like a British drama. Popped it on. We ended up watching the full thing. Just great. I mean, fantastic British ensemble cast. Cast perfectly. I think the story's told well because on the surface it's like a buddy cop show between Sam, the policeman, and Gene, who is kind of the DCI. So he's kind of Sam coming to terms with the racist, sexist, misogynistic 70s policing, basically. Right. His DCI is particularly violent and brash in his approach. So they kind of play off each other, but they learn a lot from each other, but they also kind of hate each other. It's a love-hate relationship. It's just super compelling characters, funny, compelling, really good narrative, pulls the rug out. Obviously, some of the episodes are just good old-fashioned cop dramas like the Sweeney. There's a diamond heist, there's a car chase, there's drugs, there's drink.
There's a diamond heist, there's a car chase.
Just like my...
What more do you want?
Just like my weekend. Bit of Joe Wicks, diamonds.
Bit of Joe Wicks.
He would make a good criminal in this, I think. But yeah, at the heart of it, it's a great crime drama. But then it has this kind of otherworldly, ethereal kind of philosophical approach where you don't really know where he is, and he feels really out of time. And they tread the line very carefully, and it's played very well. There's a lot of social commentary of the time, Thatcherism, striking, football hooliganism. So each episode has its own storyline, but it all plays into the wider narrative of where the hell is this guy, basically. Right. Really home run acting performances in it, so super, super enjoyable. John Sim as the lead. We all know John Sim has been a very good British drama actor and theatre actor and things.
Very good.
But also, so many good actors in it. Philip Glenister, who plays Gene, is fantastic in it as well. By the end of it, it's one of those shows that you really feel like you know the characters. It's the same with Ashes to Ashes. It was the follow-up. Kind of in the wider canon, it was similar format. It was Keely Hawes who plays the protagonist. Same thing. She was shot. She wakes up in the 80s. So she's like 10 years later than when Sam was. Sam's not there, but she's already aware of all the characters because she knew Sam. So she's aware of everyone in that world. So she kind of thinks she's dreaming again, and very much more self-aware than Sam was in the previous series. And very, very similar concept, a lot more sexual tension between her and Gene. She wants to know what happened to Sam, and there's more to do with police corruption, and a bit more philosophical than perhaps the first Life on Mars. It poses questions about what it means to be human and what it means to be alive, and things like that. And again, super good follow-up. It's unusual for a show to do a kind of a follow-up spin-off that's with the same cast but with a different lead. It's like a spin-off and a sequel sort of in one, isn't it?
Together. It's strange.
Yeah.
From the things I've not seen either, but my family have watched them and I've heard amazing things about them.
You'd love it, mate.
The thing that I've heard about it is that it's super accurate in its historical kind of representation of Britain.
Absolutely.
I know that. So my family collect, don't just collect them. They use them as their cars full time. Classic cars from the 70s, and a lot of the car clubs, their vehicles were used in Ashes to Ashes and Life on Mars.
Yes,
they would ask for them. So, from what I can remember, the conversations that they had really accurate depictions of the vehicles on the streets and the housing and the costume, and So that's cool. I mean, it's an interesting era of British history. So yeah, it is something that I may get around to watching at some point.
I would recommend it, considering it's on Netflix now. I think, so it's two series of Life on Mars, 3 series of Ashes to Ashes. There is somewhat of a conclusion at the end of everything. Everything is contextualized and makes sense. Like I said, some people might think it's a bit wacky, but at the heart of it is like a buddy cop show with this kind of sci-fi element to it.
And what is is there a connection to David Bowie, or is it just...
There is, obviously the song was out at the time, but it's the song that Sam is listening to, Life on Mars, when he gets hit by a car.
Okay.
And Ashes to Ashes is obviously also a Bowie song.
Yeah.
And it's very, talking of pop culture with us, it's very pop culture orientated. So the realism is there, from the magazines on the table to the movies so there's a lot of bleeding from shows from the time that are involved in the narrative and things. So it's I think the names really add to that kind of dreamscape feel of it all. Is it real? Is it not? They're kind of hanging on to pop culture to kind of ground them within this world that they found themselves in. Really good, great realism. They are writing a new series, actually. Ashley and Matthew, they've confirmed it.
Really?
5-parter, which is good timing. So if people want to get on watch it now, you might be able to watch it before the new series has come out.
Yeah, I remember hearing rumours of a film, but that was quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe that didn't happen, and they're doing the series now.
Yeah, 5-part. That's going to be in the 70s, 80s, and modern day. So interested to see what they do with that. And I hope it's not a toe the line identity politics kind of series where it becomes all about.
Yeah, it kind of sounds. It sounds like back when you could do kind of well-informed but shows in good faith about geopolitical and also kind of people's relationships and how things happened. I mean, it sounds like if that show was made now, it would be some kind of dumpster fire of identity, and
that's my worry, because
it would be some black trans cop with one leg that has to be accepted.
She's coming on next week, actually. She's coming on next week.
Oh, right. Yeah, I shouldn't say too much.
My concern is there is a lot of racism in the series in as a whole. There is a lot of sex, because that is what it was like. There is a lot of misogyny. And
yeah, I hate that. I hate it when people like they do it with Tarantino. I remember when Django came out, and people were saying that the depiction of black Americans in the film was so bad and so awful, and they said the N-word a lot. And I was like, when do you think this film is set?
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah,
it's absurd.
This is one of the only dramas I've seen that it really goes all in on its characterization and realism in terms of that. So there's a lot of inflammatory language that is used. I'm not offended by it personally, but I can see why it might be a problem in the future. So interested to see where they go with it. In fact, they've been doing, the writers and some of the actors have been doing watch-alongs during the whole coronavirus debacle, with talking about script ideas and the shoot days and some secrets, which has been very enlightening as well. So would recommend it. Life on Mars, Ashes to Ashes.
Nice.
That's about the only TV I've been watching, actually.
Nice.
What about movies, mate? You watch any movies?
Not too many. I watched, for some reason, Deep Blue Sea the other day.
Very specific.
Just I saw it on like a list, like a What Culture thing, like most surprising movie deaths. And it's the one where Samuel L. Jackson's talking, and he seems to be the main character, along with the female scientist.
Yes.
And he's giving that rousing speech, and then he just gets caught by the shark and pulled in about halfway through the film. And I was like, oh, great, I'll watch Deep Blue Sea. It's awful, isn't it? It's a terrible film. But it's big sharks in it, which is quite cool.
Bigsharks.com.
I did watch Cape Fear last night.
Good.
You seen that?
Yeah, back in the I saw it maybe 10 years ago or so, but yeah.
Very cool. Very
good.
cool.
Very good.
Interesting because I was aware of the WWE wrestler Bray Wyatt. His inspiration for his character was Max Cady from Cape Fear, which was then given to. They tried it in the 90s and it didn't work. So then they tried it again with Bray Wyatt.
Similar shirts, isn't it? The shirt and
yeah. White trousers, the Hawaiian shirt, slick back hair, like philosophizing, being very menacing whilst being very intelligent.
A bit like me.
So it was very, very intelligent, if anything.
A bit like me.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see the original for that. It's a Spielberg film. Very controversial scene with De Niro and a very young. Well, actually, she's portrayed as 14, but she's actually 18. I looked it up. The Juliette Lewis kiss. But yeah, so he is. It's a very troubling film about a guy who rapes a 16-year-old girl and then just has a vendetta against a lawyer.
Yeah. Not a comedy. Really not a comedy.
It's not a comedy. No, it's not a comedy. And I watched the Diego Maradona film.
That's right. Yeah.
Made by the same guy, I can't remember his name, who did Amy and Senna. And it was billed as like a three film kind of run of child geniuses, or like child star people that were very gifted as children and then went on to have quite strange, sometimes tragic lives. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, highly recommended. If you like football, very recommended. If you don't, probably a little bit too specific, although it's loads of archival footage from the 60s and 70s. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah.
Lovely.
How about yourself? Films?
None, not one, and I shall tell you for why. Because it's looking ever likely that our Disney World holiday in September is off due to everything. Obviously, even if we could go, the flights and the quarantine time after you fly, and the parks at the moment, masks, temperature checks, 1/3 capacity. You can only take your mask off when you're eating. It's not
the dream holiday, is it? That
it's not. Mickey Mouse in a hazmat is not what I want in my photo album. So looking like Disney's off the cards, which means our Disney our path to the Disney World trip in watching all of the movies has come to a strange halt, because it's quite depressing now watching all the movies when we will have to either cancel or rebook our holiday for another time. So, and the TV is kind of overtaking the movies at the moment. So I'm in a weird limbo at the moment where we're not really sure what to watch. But basically I can't actually remember the last movie I watched. So it must have been some time since I watched a movie.
Right.
I know, too busy doing bloody productive stuff, isn't it, mate?
Is it? Have you?
Yeah.
All over.
I mean,
all over the place.
Name a productive thing. I've done it.
Have you washed?
Yeah, once. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been washing. Yeah.
Been washing.
Yeah. The quarantine's been one of them, isn't it? One of those really lets you know the wheat from the chaff. You know, who's been having more than 2 showers a week? I'm not sure I could say that.
Well, you never did anyway.
That's true.
Must.
If I'm at work, I shower every day. But what's the point? What's the point?
Maybe you should talk to someone about that, mate.
Right. Okay. I'm talking to you about it.
Linda McCartney? Talk to Linda McCartney about it?
Hopefully.
A couple of sausages, that'll sort you out, mate. Have you ever eaten a sausage in the shower?
That sounds like very euphemistic.
No, but you did go to prison for a while, so.
Yeah.
What have you been listening to, mate? What music you been listening to? We're going to come into Kenny's musical extravaganza. You've got a section all planned out. Albums incoming in the next month. Is this correct?
Yes, I thought it would be nice. I mean, it's funny that we've talked about the quarantine there out of nowhere, really. Talking about TV and films, suddenly quarantine, it takes over our lives, really. So I thought I would give everyone a little heads up on stuff we've got to look forward to. So there is a good amount of music coming our way in the next month or so.
Lovely.
Today, as we are recording, the new 1975 album is out.
Lovely.
If you like that, probably fuck off.
Yeah. Don't want that.
Is that terrible?
Oh, chocolate! Thank you.
Sorry, was that? I told her to turn it down.
Yeah, that was Matt. What's his name? Heafy?
Chocolate! Healy.
Healy. Not Heafy. That's the other one.
Yeah. Imagine 1975 with Matt Heafy singing over the top. But so new 1975. So if you like them, that's, that's fine.
Really good production quality on a 1975 album.
Yeah, but so good that it's like sterile.
Well, it's like crystal clear water in your ears.
Yeah,
I don't want water in my ears, but it's very good water.
No. Yeah, it is good production, but it's so good it's a touch lifeless, I think.
Yeah,
sometimes
I can agree with that. Yeah.
But another band that have amazing production always, The Killers.
Killers, baby.
Imploding the Mirage comes out in a week's time. 6th album from The Killers. Lead single was Caution, which had a massive synth lead. Very Killers. Really cool, like Americana lyrics. Talking about like Hollywood eyes. There was this beautiful lyric in it called that was. She doesn't like birthdays. They'll remind her of why she can go straight from 0 to the 4th of July.
That's nice.
That's beautiful, isn't it?
Very poetic.
And it's got a solo from Lindsey Buckingham, Fleetwood Mac fame.
Didn't know about that. That's
some reason.
Cool. That's very cool.
So that was Caution, the lead single off of Imploding the Mirage. Announced a massive tour, which has now been pushed back, obviously. So just a week for more Killers music, which one of my favourite bands, really.
Not many people know, but of course they all are Killers. They had to be Killers to get in the band to start with.
Verified.
It's very Brandon, for example, murdered, I think, 4 prostitutes back in the day. So, it's just one of those things to get in the band.
Yeah, one of those special. So it's one of those bands that has had so many members. Turles Manson.
He was there as well. He was there. Yeah.
Jeffrey Epstein tried to get in by not killing himself, but turns out the man that killed him was allowed in. So.
Yeah, his murderer was in. He's the drummer now. Yeah.
On the same day, another one of my favourite artists when it comes to pop, Miss Lady Gaga.
There she is
returned with Chromatica. She's got a new track that is being released tomorrow, a new single. But Stupid Love, I don't know, have you heard this single, Stupid Love?
I have not heard this single. No, I've not heard it. No.
Very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a glitchy kind of like synth bass. Music's dropping in and out, so it's quite glitchy and quite funky.
Nice.
Massive kind of throwback sound. Again, it's that kind of 80s throwback.
Everyone's doing it.
Or even 2000s throwback. Like a lot of people compared Dua Lipa's new album to Kylie Minogue, and she has said that Kylie Minogue's one of her favourite artists.
Let me just rewind. You called her Dua Lipa. That's funny. Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa.
Dua Lipa, Poopa Scooper.
Yeah, I always get her name wrong.
Sorry, mate. I had to find that.
Every time I get her name wrong.
Super duper Dua Lipa.
That's terrible. That is. that is very similar to what happened when we were on a quiz recently, wasn't it?
Oh wow, that is a story.
We'll save that for later,
story, isn't it? Maybe we'll save that one for a little bit. Yeah. So this is a feel good song then, throwback song.
Yeah.
She's doing Mum Ariana Grande, isn't she, as well?
The new single that's out. So this will be released Monday. It came out the Friday just gone, so it'll be out tomorrow for us.
Got you.
Ariana Grande. Yeah, massive fan of Lady Gaga. Do you like Lady Gaga?
Like Lady Gaga, I think sometimes she's a very troubled woman. I think some of what she stands for, especially her she walks a strange line when she talks of abuse and endorsing Joe Biden and things like that when Joe Biden's been accused of some awful things in the past. I think she's a little messed up, bless her, and I think she channeled that through music, which I understand. But I think she's got very, very good songwriter. I think as a person, she probably murders goats in her backyard, so I probably wouldn't want to meet her.
Illuminati.
Confirmed.
Yes, I think she is very much. Yeah, she's I don't want to say strange, but she's very unique.
She's very
person.
unique.
Great. I mean, turns out great actor as well as great artist, and I think she's very interesting in a kind of in a world of incredibly bland pop stars. It's nice that we have a Lady Gaga. Trying to think who else is in that similar vein.
She's a modern starlet, you know what I mean? Of the Monroe, Black Dahlia age, of kind of the troubled starlet who will be found dead in a ditch sometime, but leave the legacy of profound work, you know what I mean? She occupies that space for me where I'm like, oh, I'm a bit scared of you, but also you create this amazing stuff. It's
she is a bit like that. Talking of which, I've got what's it called? What happened, Miss Simone? Downloaded. I'm going to watch the Netflix Nina Simone documentary, which I will watch. Which is of that ilk, really. She's kind of the queen of that kind of troubled female genius, really. So that'll be interesting as well. I know you've got a bit on music documentaries that you're going to talk about later, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. So it fits in nicely. Anything else coming out soon that of interest?
Run the Jewels 4. So you've got that on the 5th of June. LP and Killer Mike are coming back. Massive features on that album that are really varied. 2 Chainz, but then Zach De La Rocca of Rage Against the Machine. They did a track with him before.
That's
Pharrell.
Just to remind people of 2 Chainz, he used to be 3 Chainz. He did lose a chain, so he became 2 Chainz. Don't confuse him with 2 T-O-O-Chainz, as if he's 2 Chainz. That's a different Chainz. He was from the Bronx.
That's different.
The original 2 Chainz with the 2. He used to be 1 Chainz back when he started. There was some copyright issues there, so we had to change to 2 Chainz.
He made a bit of money, bought a second chain, and thought, probably pop that on. Not to be confused with the Fleetwood Mac song "The Chain," which completely different.
That's completely different. But he is also a rapper, The Chain, underground at the moment, but he's doing well. So good luck to him.
The Game, The Chain,
2
Chainz.
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. 2 Chainz. Anyway.
Yes, that was the original.
What the single?
You've got Yankee and the Brave, which is decent, very short track. My one I've mentioned before that I prefer much more. Ooh La La.
Ooh La La. You say it like that, mate. Ooh La La.
Which I've mentioned before, which is just a really good hip hop single, kind of throwback 90s, reverse piano, very funky. For me, it's one of their best tracks they've ever done.
Big words.
And
big words.
Big. And also, I noticed during listening to these 2 singles how nice it is to hear hip hop without trap drums. To actually hear proper drums on hip hop. Yeah.
That was a really good impression.
It was good, yeah. I don't mind trap drums occasionally. They work. Occasionally they work really well.
More like crap drums.
But hip hop with proper drums is it will make a comeback, I think.
If you want to hear hip hop with drums, Travis Barker's album Let the Drummer Get Some.
Incredible.
Mental.
Yeah, that is good. So that's coming, and then the end of June you've got Haim. Women in Music Part 3. So many tracks of this album is already out.
Wonder what their agenda is with that album title.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about that, but to be honest, and to be fair, 5 tracks are out. 3 of them are bonus tracks from the album. 2 of them are on the album, and they seem to be okay.
Good.
Do
they go like this?
One thing,
Do they do that?
yeah.
And then I think the other single went like this. Is it that one?
You're doing a bit on Haim.
I'm doing a bit on Haim. More like
yeah. Same.
Talking about, you know what I always think when I look at Haim? I think of dime bars, because dime. Replace the H with a D, dime. And I can't look at Haim without thinking, oh, I'd love a dime bar. Be lovely.
Do you know why they're called Haim? Do you know why?
Yes, but I'm not going to tell you. You have to tell me.
It's just their surname.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a bit rubbish.
Should have known that. Have you got any dime bars? Any dime bars?
Dime bar Daryl.
I love Haim or Haim.
They're very good.
Now I'm in it. Hallelujah, Summer Girl have already come out. They're going to be bonus tracks. But The Steps and I Know Alone are already out. So there's 5 tracks already out from the album.
Quite different singles.
Super different.
Like acoustic, jazz, pop.
Yeah.
Synth.
Yeah, like Hallelujah's like a kind of Midwest ballad with these beautiful harmonies.
You can always do a good harmony.
Which sounds a bit more kind of like First Aid Kit kind of style of music, whereas like The Steps is like pop rock with like a real jangly kind of Telecaster style guitar. So good. And then Summer Girls, this like jazzy kind of weird saxophone kind of hook that goes throughout, and it's like a kind of, it sounds like lounge music.
Well, I like a saxophone hook, so
yeah, it's really cool. And then now I'm in it. It's like a kind of, sounds a bit like The Weeknd. It's kind of got this like synth. It's going to be an interesting album. It's going to be very interesting because the style, like you said, the style is all over the place.
I look forward to the one that goes. Look forward to
that. That's actually a song of theirs.
It is.
What else? The last thing was the delaying indefinitely of the new Weezer album.
I'm a bit confused about this one because I know Gaga pushed hers back as well, but indefinitely, what's that about?
A lot of Haim was pushed back 6 or 7 weeks, but this has just been pushed with no new release date. So presumably we'll get one. It's been weird because they released The End of the Game, which had that like Van Halen tapping intro.
That was the walkthrough party video. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like nearly a year ago. And then they released this new single, Hero, which is okay. It's fine. But it's nowhere near as good as The End of the Game. And then they've just delayed the album indefinitely. I'm quite excited for it. I like Weezer, and apparently it's going to be much more riffy and have a kind of hard rock influence. But yeah, so
no idea, mate.
Plenty of music to come.
I wonder if they're delaying until they do the tour, so then people will buy it on the tour, or don't know.
Maybe.
Who knows? Well, yes.
But yeah, lots of music.
Lots of great music coming up. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Kenny, for that, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, music for me. I haven't listened to that much. Bits and bobs. More documentaries. Things like BBC Radio 2's done quite a lot of music documentaries over the year. There's plenty you can find on YouTube. Dad compiled some for me actually and sent them over to me, which I've been working my way through, including a couple of Joe Brown documentaries. Who takes kind of 50 to 60 minute deep dive with some kind of tracks in the middle of kind of old rock and roll artists, old music artists of the time. Joe Brown was a guitarist, touring guitarist and musician in his own right for many years. Listen to a couple. Listen to a great documentary called Buddy in Britain. Mentioned Buddy Holly on this podcast many times, one of my all-time favourite artists. Very fortunate to grow up on a lot of rock and roll back in the day. Recently took Dad to see the Buddy the musical at Windsor Theatre Royal before the weeks before the theatre closed due to coronavirus.
Quite close to the end of live shows. That was, wasn't it?
It's great sound. I can't remember I mentioned it before. I don't think I did, but great sound. Great musical. It's been going for like 30 years, that musical. But Buddy was beautifully played by a guy called Christopher Weeks, who's a great actor. So you guys check him out if you don't know. You know, the musical was ultimately telling the story of Buddy's life leading up to his death. People forget that he died at age 22. The legacy that he left, and he died at 22. Mental. I mean, you're 28. You don't even shower twice a week.
But I do look a bit like Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
A fat, dirty Buddy Holly.
Yeah, basically. I think that's on your CV, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's on your CV.
Yeah. If you need a morbidly depressed Buddy Holly,
I'm your man.
Who's aging rapidly.
Yeah.
I'm your man.
Yeah, but I guess you're not dead, so you've won out in the end. You're not dead.
But
the musical, great ensemble cast. You know, everyone plays live on stage. Lots of dancing, very joyful. There's a very poignant moment in the show where it comes to Buddy dying, and all they did was they were in the middle of a gig, and it went silent, and there was a spotlight just on his acoustic guitar with his name on it, and it was like. It was one of the most profound pieces of theatre I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie. I cried. I wept. It was like, oh, God. That got me in the zone.
That was the moment.
That got me in the zones. It was, still terribly sad, but what a legacy. And as a guitarist, as a writer. Anyway, enough about the musical. This documentary, Joe Brown documentary, great doc about Buddy's only tour of the UK. He did one tour of the UK in 1958.
Wow.
That was it. Dates he did. Included Kilburn, which ironically was right near my uni, which I never knew. And I think it's like a Mecca bingo hall now. It used to be a big cinema.
No!
He played in Kilburn. He's played in Nottingham, up near you. He played at Colston Hall in Bristol. Nice. Ended the tour at Hammersmith Apollo. It was like loads of dates, lots of TV appearances. So this documentary, just some personal anecdotes from people around him at the time, people in the band, fans, discussing the venues, you know, the gigs, the weather, the influence. Des O'Connor, famed British comedian, very funny guy, toured with him, was like the compere for the shows.
Oh, wow.
And tells many stories about shopping for guitars with Buddy in the middle of London, Denmark Street and stuff. Nice. In fact, Buddy gave Des his acoustic guitar at the end of the tour, and Des actually had a Buddy Holly guitar for many years. I believe he's put it in a museum now. So this particular tour in the UK was a tour that inspired the Beatles, the Stones. They all saw Buddy on TV and picked up guitars. So without this tour, may have not had any Beatles or Stones. So super interesting documentary. Hearing the band talk about what they thought of England and touring at the time. They all thought it was freezing and wet here because they're from Texas. So of course they did. But really touching documentary interspersed with some of his hits and some rare kind of archive audio, because it was only audio only. So, of TV appearances and things. Just super interesting documentary about one of the most important, rock and rollers of all time, really, taken from us far too young, as was Eddie Cochran, who's another documentary I listened to. Died even younger at 21, Eddie Cochran.
Wow.
Died in Chippenham on Rowden Hill.
Really?
Car skidded off the road, and carrying Gene Vincent was in the car as well. Crashed into a bridge, and he died. Eddie died the next day. For people that don't know Eddie Cochran, pioneering guitarists, obviously, Come On Everybody, Something Else, Summertime Blue.
Come on, everybody!
All those iconic. Obviously. A great session guitarist in his own right. Really hot on production, really good with overdubbing and stuff. Wrote most of his own songs. They kind of marketed him as kind of like the alternative to Elvis. Like, let's make him look a bit like Elvis, but he's more kind of grassroots than Elvis was. A lot of detuning and stuff, which is kind of unusual for the time. Right. Lots of movie appearances. He was in like Girl Can't Help It and things like that. But yeah, another great Joe Brown documentary about Eddie Cochran. I think Joe actually played with Eddie towards the end of his life. But talking his career, how he got started, his successes, most of which came after he died. He had a lot of posthumous hits, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
America, he did okay. But in the UK, he was in the charts. In fact, I think up until mid-2000s, an Eddie Cochran album was basically always floating around the charts, which is pretty amazing, really. Again, someone that died so young but had such a effect on the way people would sing and the way people would play. He was doing a lot of great finger picking work and kind of almost a precursor to Van Halen and things that we mentioned earlier. A lot of technical ability. So super interesting documentary. I've kind of done a trio of documentaries in that I listened to after Little Richard passed away as of last week, or possibly just the week before, died at age 87. I mean, what can we say about Little Richard? Another icon of music, absolute pioneer of rock and roll.
That's all I've got to say about Little Richard.
That's all you need to say. Probably the best whoop in all of music. Put on some music in his honour on the day that he died, of course. Bit of Tutti Frutti. One of the first artists I really got involved with listening to tapes and stuff back in the days. Great gospel, soul, blues influence, great pianist. He called himself the architect of rock and roll, which you probably can't really disagree with, because again, the Beatles, he was the one that toured with the Beatles and taught them to harmonise by using a lot of woo, which is why Paul McCartney does a lot of woo. Again, Beatles just took everything from basically Little Richard and Buddy Holly. Real chaos to his performances, which I loved. So, girls would be throwing their knickers, like in the 50s, girls would throw their knickers at him, which was like, that was not a thing, baby. Very openly gay for a lot of his career. He says he's not gay now because he was always very religious, and then he renounced.
Not gay.
I'm not gay now, baby. He renounced rock and roll until money sort of brought him out of hiding again, and he did it again. But he was a real preacher. Like, he really got into religion. Some people say he was biased, some people say he was gay. He said he was gay, and then he found God again, and now he's not gay because, and I quote, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
That's what Little Richard said.
That's what Little Richard said, yeah.
Wow.
So, good guy. But, great character. So, listening to a lot about him, listening to his music, and I actually watched a film I watched when I was very young called Little Richard. He was played by a guy called Leon, who's a fantastic actor and singer. And it was a movie biopic about his life. It was produced by Little Richard, actually. I think it was out in the year 2000. So I came back to that, watched that, having not seen it since I was a little boy. And that is a great movie, talking obviously about his life and his issues with religion, his issues with his dad, his issues with his sexuality. And a lot of white guys would cover his songs and they would get in the chart. Yeah. He would feel Pat Boone, for example, covering Tutti Frutti, he would feel very angry that white people were covering his music. And, a lot of race issues at the time, of course, that he could only play. He was a real pioneer in terms of playing white venues. So it was a super interesting film. And I thought, why not? He's passed away. Why not celebrate his life and listen to some good music, listen to some stuff about the man, and he will be missed because there ain't many rock and rollers left at all, really. I mean, Jerry Lee Lewis is hanging on, but not many left, mate. Unfortunately, in our lifetime, we're going to see all these legends die, which is awful.
Yeah, who is it? So Frankie Valli's still alive.
Yes.
Because I saw that he postponed his tour to next year.
Valli's alive. Jerry Lee Lewis is alive. Who else died? Chuck Berry's died.
Cliff Richard's alive.
Cliff's alive. Cliff is in the conversation in terms of British rock and roll for sure. A lot of people will dismiss Cliff, but he was very important in Britain for rock.
His early career cannot be denied.
No.
He was super important.
Yeah.
It's just when he went weird with religion that
they seem to all find Christ eventually, mate.
Yeah. I'm still waiting. I'm going to wait a little bit longer, I think.
He's there, mate. I think he's like lives next door to you, I think.
Does he? Right.
Yeah, he's been there the whole time. Jesus. He's there. Yeah.
Jesus. So that's a bit of music stuff.
Yeah.
Should we play, before we go on to anything else, should we have another little game?
We've got an hour. We've got just to let you know, we've got
an hour already
as of now. So
that's what. Yeah. Okay.
We have a think about the way we want to progress in this podcast. I think we should play a game called Things Prince Philip Has Said. The game.
Trademark that.
Get that on the board. And I'm going to ask you some I'm gonna read some quotes out from everybody's favourite Prince Philip, and just guess who he said these quotes to. Nice and simple.
Okay. All right.
Almost a hip trip hooray, but just a little cheeky thing. I wanted to write down the quotes.
How offensive are they?
I've tried to pick ones that aren't terribly offensive. There was one about slitty eyes that I didn't include.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we'll start off with a soft open.
Right.
British women can't cook.
Oh.
Who did Prince Philip direct that at?
Was that at who's a fate? Was that at Mary Berry?
Well, no, it wasn't. But yeah, I can see where you're going. Any other guesses?
Was it a male? So let's say, was it Gordon Ramsay?
That would be funny. It was just to the Scottish Women's Institute. giving a speech. British women can't cook.
I thought that might have been kind of locker room talk with the boys, maybe.
Yeah, getting in with the lads.
But actually, just to a women's institute.
Fine. Another quick quote. Oh no, I might catch some ghastly disease. Why would he say that?
Going out to the slums of Britain. I can't go out there.
Someone asked him to do something, and he said that. That's his reply.
Okay. So he was asked to go somewhere, shake hands with some people. Was it a poorer part of London?
You know, like where Jack the Ripper hangs out, Whitechapel.
It was Whitechapel.
He came to touch the victims of the plague. No, I might catch some ghastly disease. That was when he was asked if he wanted to pet a koala. Oh no.
No.
Disease. Brilliant. Another favourite of mine. So, who's on drugs here? He looks as if he's on drugs. This was the Prince Philip quote. Who's on drugs here? He looks like he's on drugs.
Is that the royal variety or something like that?
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It's not. It's probably sadder than that.
Oh.
He said,
is he in a hospital?
He said that to a 14-year-old Bangladeshi in a youth club. He looks like he's on drugs.
Just.
Oh, brilliant.
Well, is he? Yeah. He's not our king, is he? But he is sort of our king.
Our Prince Regent. Yeah, he's
the husband of the Queen.
She died, but yeah,
No.
He's by all accounts an awful man. I declare this thing open, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
I declare this thing open, whatever it is.
What would bamboozle? Would it be something for a youth club? Some sort of thing for people that are below him?
Hospital or something. No, in fact, it's broader than that. It was the country of Canada. Just on a state visit to Canada. Someone asked him what he thought, and he said, I declare this thing open, whatever it is. Wonderful. Wonderful, man. Maybe one more. If it doesn't fart or eat hay, she isn't interested. If it doesn't fart or eat hay, she isn't interested. He's not talking about the Queen.
No, but is she talking to, is it Zara, the one that's really into horses?
You know what? That's close. He's talking about Princess Anne. He's talking about his daughter. Yeah.
Right.
If it doesn't fart or eat hay, she isn't interested. Yeah.
Why would farting?
Quite specific that leads me to believe that she'd be interested in you.
Yeah, I definitely eat hay. Hey,
the one too.
I was going to say the other. Yes, good guy. Good guy.
One of my other quotes. It'd be hard to guess this one, but he went to a deaf school and said, "Deaf, if you're near there, no wonder you are deaf." And he said that to children who were near a Caribbean steel drum band.
Okay. Well, maybe I can get on board with that one.
Yeah,
steel drums are.
People don't know. He was a comedian.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was things Prince Philip has said. The game. That is mine. So that's my intellectual property.
Just keep that. Rockstar, don't come a knocking. Insomniac, Naughty Dog. I'm not interested. Just don't ruin The Last of Us.
Don't ruin it for me. Well, we're at an impasse, young sir. What do we do? Do we carry 20 minutes?
Do we have a... I think the next section is probably needs to be skipped.
Okay.
And seen, maybe.
Okay, we'll save that. The next section was gaming news.
I think we're going to skip gaming news.
What we're doing a live workout of what we're doing, because once again we're overblowing it. I mean, we're too bloody good. We'll do gaming next time. We played things Prince Philip has said the game. That was good.
Just let's finish off maybe just with some things that have been happening. Maybe some anecdotes that we haven't got
time to get to.
Had time to get to in the past. I think you've got a couple of funny things that have happened to you recently.
I've got a few strange things that have happened. We'll start off with what should we start off with? We'll start off with a quick section I've entitled "Dead Duck Redemption."
Oh no! I know what this is about. It's quite sad.
Very quickly, we live in a lovely block of flats. A lovely convent that was made into apartments that has multiple gardens. One of which a duck goes into most years and lays its eggs. There's a couple of fountains. The ducklings will hatch and they will live in the garden for 2 or 3 months. Then they'll nip out to the river and they'll come back next year and lay bubbers of their own. This year, for the first time, there was some eggs laid in the courtyard that's just outside our apartment. What's going on here? Little bubberoos, little nesty nest. They make their nest out of duck feathers. Oh, it's beautiful. We're going there. We got some pellets. We're feeding them. Daniel's cooking rice, feeding them rice.
Aiming them, loving them, touching them.
We've
singing to them with a lute.
Yeah, I've got a couple of lutes. I thought I'm never going to use this lute, so I'm going to have to use it now. Giving them little Tupperwares of water so she didn't have to leave her nest. Gradually, the eggs were being picked off. I thought, it's nature's way. It's nature's way. Something's gonna eat it. It's always gonna be the way. One day, little duckies out, and they've hatched. Beautiful it was. Little squeakers running around. We're thinking,
so pretty.
What are we going to do with these bubbers? They got to get in the pond at some point. They got to get in the fountain in a few weeks. Now, in the other garden that's around the other side of the property here, there's been a duck also going there for years, who currently still has 11 ducklings. They've grown mightily quick. And some little lovely friendly neighbour over there has built a ramp into the pond for the little duckies to get in the pond. So we thought, well, that's beautiful. We'll do that. We'll make our own. I'm finding little twigs. I'm finding some planks of wood from a bonfire on the green.
You've got a saw on the go.
I've got a
Alan Titchmarsh is over.
He's over. He's having a great time. And we made this ramp. We were bashing it together. There was like a hinge on it. It was a pretty good ramp. Little steep. It was a pretty good ramp. For what we could do, it was a pretty good ramp. Little duckies born. They're not going to go in for a while. Not a problem. Come out the next day. That ramp's been broken. What's happened here? Someone's broke the ramp. Don't know why. It wasn't a duck. It'd actually been snapped in half. Someone doesn't like ramps, evidently. Someone's a rampist. Don't know what happened there. So we kind of had to cobble it back together again. I was angry. I was loudly verbalising my anger in the courtyard so everyone around could hear. Who's done this?
Who's broke this ramp?
The thing that we made. Who's done this?
You scared them off.
Scared them off. Scared the people off.
Scared the ducks off. Then they didn't come back.
And they left, and that was the end of the story. Little 5 ducklings. Yeah. I thought, 5's all right. Over the other courtyard, she's still got 11. I'm like, oh, it's quite a divide here, but we'll let it happen. Little feedy. Next day, 3 left. Oh, 2's gone. Where have 2 gone in the night? Have they fallen? They haven't fallen. Have they been eaten? Maybe. Little magpies flapping about. We were thinking magpies eat ducklings. This is where I got wary. Magpies are around. A few crows around. Bird of prey above. It's like David Attenborough would have loved this. Bill Oddie would have loved this.
Bill Oddie came round the corner.
Yeah, way. He
had a duck's foot out of its mouth.
Yeah. We didn't, Bill. Is that why they call you Bill? It was not good. Anyway, 3 left. We thought, all right. Nature's ways. Nature's way. 'Tis nature's way.
Nature's way. It's a circle of life. Circle of life.
We sung that to them. Next day, came in the garden. None left.
Oh.
They're all gone, aren't they? Where have they gone?
Yeah.
Where have they gone? They've been eaten, haven't they? They've been taken. What we realised what's been happening is one magpie's been distracting the mother, other one's been nipping in behind. He's got a bag, pops him in the van, drives to the nest. Couldn't believe it. So why people salute magpies, I ain't got a clue. Bastards. Absolute bastards.
Hate them.
Every time I see a magpie, salute the magpie, I go, no.
Kill them all.
So annoying. So now I hate magpies. Getting rid of them in the garden. Get out of here. Get out of here, you dirty magpies. Little mama's looking for the ducklings. She can't see what's going on. She don't know where they've gone. Wait a minute. Next couple of days, a couple of male ducks have flown in. What are the boys doing? What are the boys doing here? What are they doing here? Apparently, if they're still in their right season and they've lost their first batch of eggs, they can lay a second.
Yeah.
Whoa! The man needs to be there. The bloke needs to be there. He needs to see what's going on. They've returned to her. She's got 2 on the go. I'm thinking threesome, duck threesome. That's more chance. Yeah. Get slapper, evidently. One day, the female's gone, but the 2 blokes are there. Whoa, hang on. Maybe those boys are seeing each other. Maybe little Richard's coming in. He wants a bit of action. I don't know.
He's not found God yet.
He hasn't found God. They haven't found God. I did put a little Bible out next to the pellets just in case. I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking, well, these guys can't reproduce. Nothing wrong with it, but these guys can't reproduce.
I've nothing wrong with it, but I want ducklings. I want little babbies.
I was worried. The boys are here. No lady for a week. She's gone. I thought, wow, maybe she's realised she can't have them. You know, she's going through the depression. She thought maybe I can have more. I can't deal with it. It's too dangerous. She's flown back to the Thames. Yesterday, as I abandoned all hope, looked out my window. Whoa! 1 male, 1 female baby is back on. We're back on. The ramp's still out there.
Ramps. No one's broke the ramp since you loudly.
The ramp since we fixed it again. All right. The other ducklings are happy in the other courtyard. They're fine. No one's picked them off. So what is it about our garden? 11 in there. They had a buffet. They had a buffet of ducklings. Duck l'orange. Didn't eat those ducks, but they ate my ducks. But we're thinking, could be that there's going to be a dead duck redemption. What's going to be more?
What's going to happen though? Because they're going to get swooped again, aren't they?
They might. The birds might have stopped coming here because they know that the ducklings have all gone.
Maybe. We
might have to call a little gosling centre or like a swan rescue or bird rescue and say you might want to protect them. Might be a thing. I'm not sure because of COVID whether people are doing that. Or I might have to stand guard out there with AK-47.
Yeah. Maybe get some netting.
Bugger off, you go away.
Yeah.
Might make a scarecrow. Yeah. Thought about making a scarecrow.
That'd be good. Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah. Slowly, I'm just putting our furniture in the garden. We've made a ramp. Pop that in the garden. You know, maybe we'll just like a blow-up doll. Pop that in the garden to scare them off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Build a little.
I saw that
tower.
In South Korea, I think football matches had blow-up sex dolls in the stands.
I saw that, and they've been fined.
And so maybe you could find some sex dolls and do the similar sort of thing. Put a mask on them. Maybe fuck it as well. I mean,
what, the duck or?
Yeah. Oh, I thought that's what you'd been doing.
Yeah, I thought that's how you reproduce. I don't know. That's all I. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll get the dolls out from the loft, and we'll get on that. Yeah. But yes, it could be a potential dead duck redemption. You know.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Rockstar, if you want to talk about that game, there is the Untitled Goose Game, so I'm more than happy for a dead duck redemption partnership.
There's a great game as well called The Unfinished Swan.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you like throw paint and it like uncovers the world as you throw the paint and it covers objects. It's very cool.
Amazing.
So, there is possibly chance of a duck redemption.
I would hope so. Do you
Only
have
hope.
an anecdote to finish things off, sir?
Only a very short one that me and my mother used to have.
Me and my girl.
I really like that Little Richard song that goes da na 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 woo, and that other one that goes na 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 woo.
That is a good one. Have you heard his other one? It's the slow blues. No, woo.
Yeah, so we had joint phone contracts with EE, and EE for years have been texting my mum saying, "Hi, Kenny, so and so this and this," and she set up a new contract, and I went to O2 about 2 years ago, and she set up a new phone contract, and then just another phone contract was set up in my name. And I had to ring to cancel and to change it all over to her. And then just, EE, I'm no longer with you. The number doesn't.
I'm no longer.
The number doesn't work.
Yeah.
The bloody. They've been texting me, mum, thinking it's me the whole time. And another funny thing, similar to that, happened where a couple of years ago we found out that our landlord. So I live in a fairly small flat. Our landlord seemed to think that there were me and my partner and her grandparents living here. Because
that would not work.
And the only way, yeah, I mean, it's 2 large rooms and a kitchen, and they the only thing that we could tie it to was that they were our guarantors because they own a house. That's the only way that they've been mentioned with this flat. And they called a couple of years ago and said, "Oh, can I speak to Pauline?" I was like, "Who? I have no." And that's Ashanti's grandmother's name. Anyway, they rang recently.
Wow.
I had a missed call. So I've already resolved this once. And I had a missed call, and then Pauline received a call from my landlord asking, with all the coronavirus, just wondered how you and Keith were getting on living at One Regent Mews. Now, not only do they not live here, Keith also is dead now.
Oh. So she said, Keith is dead, and he went, "Oh my God, this corona. I'm so sorry."
Yeah. So, it was a very odd situation that they just seemed to think that 4 people, including 2 sort of 70-plus-year-olds, were living in this
flat. Who were also guarantors because they own a house. So they've left their owned house, they left their bought house, to come and move into your flat.
Now they rent a 1-bed flat in the centre of Nottingham.
Yeah, opposite a building site that's continuous.
Yeah, that's about right. So that was funny. And also, just wondered how you and Keith... Well, Keith's dead, and also...
That would be Keith that died. Right, okay.
Yeah. So that was... that happened. So lots of miscommunication and confusion with large companies to do with us at the moment.
Let me tell you about one more miscommunication, and then we'll wrap it up. We might have to do another general soon. With
part 2. Part 2 is going to be.
I think we're going to have to do a part 2, mate. I don't know about you. Do the people want it? You don't.
Oh, it's deathly silent. Oh wait, what's that I can hear? Do. Woo! Okay, little Richard wants it.
That's a duck being eaten alive. Okay. One more quick one. This requires some reading. Back in the day, people don't know, I went to music school. Never mentioned that before. Had to create a university email to prove. So social medias, that's why I've got me Instagram, blah, 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 blah. It was all through uni. You got to prove that you can do an artist project. Anyway, created an artist email. Never checked it, baby, because I never used it. It was all fake. Uploaded a few spoken words to YouTube, which now are no longer there. But was going through my old stuff while I had some time, found this old email that I never used, and I thought, oh, well, actually, this ties to a YouTube channel and things that I had back in the day. Just get rid of that. But what I'll do is I'll check my artist email, because you never know, I might have got some spam through it or something. Dear Sir, July the 11th, 2018. Hi there.
Oh, hi.
I hope you are well.
I am.
My name is Lewis, and I am working at Thames TV.
What?
I just came across your JAC comedian YouTube channel, which is what it was called for uni, and I was wondering if I might be able to have a chat with you about a TV show I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
If possible, let me know your number, and I can give you a call soon. All the best, Lewis. Now, this was sent to me, let me reaffirm, July the 11th, 2018. I checked this 1 week ago, right? So a year and a half has gone by. I probably missed this opportunity. Wish I'd looked at it at the time. I gave him a little Google. Lewis is from, I shan't give his full name. He's a fucking Britain's Got Talent, X Factor, show after show. He's a real guy. It's not a fake email. He really is a producer for all of these shows. Can you believe that? From this little niche channel, and it proves that if your content is good, it rises to the top. And I never checked it because I never use this as a real email. I've got about 10 emails that I've used. I replied.
Yeah. Did you say, I've not looked at this in 2 years?
I said,
please employ me.
I love you. Good evening, Lewis. Somehow your email got lost in the ether, and I've only now come across it. So apologies for not replying sooner, brackets, a year and a half sooner. I went on a very extended coffee break. Pop that in there for a little joke, little jokey. I assume the opportunity you contacted me about has passed me by, but I've dropped some links below to my social media pages in case any opportunities arise in the future. Kind regards, Jack. And you know what I've dropped underneath, didn't you? Rock and roll up, baby. All the way.
You about to tell us that we're going to start working with ITV? Is live on air?
All I'm saying is, please employ us. I probably missed out on Britain's Got Talent a year and a half ago. I'd imagine that's what it was. And I don't know what, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I don't know what it would have been for. It could have been stand-up. It could have been, I don't know what it would have been. Spoken word, maybe. Don't know. And I didn't reply until now. So won't ever forgive myself. That'll be number one on the agenda. But I have, and yeah, it's a real email address. So I have sent our details to him, and it hasn't bounced back. So he still has a real email address.
Right.
So our details are in the hands of Thames Television, baby.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I look forward to that. Shall I get my bank card now, or?
Yeah, he also said he needed some money for a Nigerian friend of his, but I just sent that over anyway, just to make sure. You know.
Yeah. Just to secure the place.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Handling fee.
That's what. Could have been on Britain's Got Talent, but in fact, I ended up that year being in an advert for Britain's Got Talent for that very series. But I could have actually, well, I don't know, maybe I would never have been in it. But I thought it was ironic that I did some extra work for Britain's Got Talent on the same year that the bloke emailed me about it. Moral of the story: check your emails. Check your emails more.
Check your emails.
But yes, I think that brings us neatly to the end. Any final words before we go?
I don't think so. I think we'll probably split. We had a bit more stuff on things that we've been doing, things that we've been eating, and
loads.
A large section on video games, which I think we'll do in part 2.
Gaming news. We have gaming news. We have what we've been eating, exercise, what we've been buying. We had more miscellaneous anecdotes that we still haven't got round to doing.
Yeah.
There's going to have to be a part 2. It will definitely be shorter. Don't fear, people out there. I suppose we should say love you and leave you, folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
See you.
You can connect to Rock and Roll Up Podcast on social media at Rock Roll Up Pod on Twitter and Rock and Roll Up Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Hit us up.
2,000 on Twitter, people. Help us out.
So look out for those posts, engage, give us a message. Any collabs? We're thinking maybe start reaching out for some collabs with different podcasts and things like that, especially as quarantine's on. So we'll see about that. Where can people listen?
They can listen all over the shop. They can listen to our wonderful words on bigheadsmedia.com, our partners in this crazy time of podcast enjoy. You can listen on Spotify. You can listen on Stitcher. You can listen on SoundCloud. What, they all begin with S? Not all of them. Apple Podcast doesn't begin with S, does it, you twat? Idiots.
Yeah.
YouTube begins with Y. Why does it begin with Y? Who knows?
Why are we on YouTube when it's a dying platform? That's a question.
Who knows? Who knows? Well, we'll join you in part 2. Pray for the ducks. Pray for those ducklings.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the update on part 2.
I'm too invested.
You are. Didn't you buy duck food?
Yeah.
Did that arrive after or before they'd been brutally murdered by a magpie?
This arrived before.
Right.
Yeah. So they get 2 good days of duck food. Yeah. Yeah. It might have something to do with my beloved cat dying at the beginning of the year. Perhaps there's some issues arising there.
Maybe.
Could be
Maybe.
that. Could be that.
And also the family members of yours, which have also passed.
Died. It's been a good year. I started the year and I thought, everyone's died within a week of each other. 2020 can't get any worse. Oh, it can. No. It can get worse.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So see you in part 2. Linda, sponsor us. We love you. We love your sausages.
We love you, Linda.
I'll tag some kind of duck food entrepreneur in one of our Instagram stories. You never know. Yeah. Well, with that, enjoy your COVID times, people of Britain and America and other countries that listen to us. And I'll see you soon. We will see you very soon. Part 2. Look after yourselves and remember, stay alert. Stay home. Protect the NHS. Stay alert. Go out, but don't go out. If you can go out, if you can go out, go out. But if you can't go out, don't go out. But go on public transport, but don't go out. But go out. Don't go out. If you can work from home, work from home. If you can't work from home, ask to work from home. But if you have to go in, walk or get a bike, cycle. But only once a day. So you can get to work, but you can't come home. Live at work. Live at work, but also don't go to work. Yeah. That was about as clear as anything we've ever done. Lovely. Goodbye, people of the world. Peace out. Woo!